I don't know what it is about the anime that airs today, but like Bofuri, Tomo-chan, I feel like I just watched the best episodes of the seasons, and damn, like, this episode was saucy, it was spicy, it was wholesome, it was hilarious, it just hit all the right notes. I mean, the Cinderella play alone would have made for an episode. Seeing reverse gender bent Tomo and just popping out of the uniform, boys going crazy, Mizuzu as Cinderella, Carol's just Carol, so she always just works no matter what, but man, this episode, it went in directions I wasn't expecting. You have Tanabe, a character who's kind of been in the distance, the background more or less, and kind of felt like maybe they were trying to build something. Is him and Mizuzu maybe gonna get together after this episode? Seems like they're trying to blossom a little something. But holy, the chest grab moment, icing on the cake there. I mean, our boy obviously didn't mean to do it, but the fact that he took his beatings, he said, "Give me all the lumps you want because I deserve it." This episode left me rolling. Now, full live reaction is available on my Patreon, so if you want to see my full uncut thoughts as I watch this episode, head on over there because they're supporting. But yeah, we gotta talk about this one. With 2 episodes left to go of Tomo-chan is a Girl, comparing my feelings within the first few episodes to where we are now is literally night and day. What started off as a very fun show, first few episodes, I like it, I dig it, I want to see more of it. But very quickly, something started to blossom and you start saying, this feels different than the rom-coms we're used to. But like I've said a few times, ever since June's focus of him clearly being flustered around Tomo was the focus, right around the episode 6 to 7 mark, this show has really elevated into a classic to me. Something that I'm going to look back at that I can easily, if I'm ranking a top 10 rom-com, Tomo-chan is a Girl is going to be in that slot somewhere. I just find like the progression, it's steady enough that there's clearly progression being made. For the first half, it was really trying to show Tomo trying to act more girly very much. She's tried to confess, it didn't work out. And this is now a big point to the end of the show where Mizuzu feels guilty, like she put a curse on Tomo because she feels like she's not girly enough to be worthy of her love. Where now she's trying to break away from that to make her understand that Tomo is Tomo and that's really all June probably wants at the end of the day, nor should she have to change to find love sort of a thing. But the fact that the second half of the show was showing more on June's side, I do think one thing that the anime's doing that isn't as obvious to the anime characters is the over blushing moments. So there's a moment in this episode when they end up getting jobs, right? And June comes over to the restaurant that he visits once a week, which is just so happens to be where they're working. So what ends up happening is he says something to Mizuzu, and Mizuzu doesn't quite know how to interpret it. But during that moment, as the viewer watching, we see him blushing and embarrassed. Very much the anime is doing things to really sell it to the viewer that a character is flustered and therefore there are those romantic butterflies. But clearly for the characters themselves in this world, they don't notice those moments quite as much, probably meaning they're not quite as dramatic as it is for the viewer watching. But I like the fact that they are still showing that these signs are there, and the way they can use waitressing and just working at a restaurant, the Cinderella play, having Tomo and June act out the play together, and Tomo just having these fantasies of like, what if June was dressed up and she's gonna be taking that to the memory bank later tonight. I love the fact that this show can work with so many different things, and no matter what they throw the dart at, wherever it sticks, it's gonna be an amazing scene. My money was either gonna be on them working at a restaurant or a maid cafe. Maid cafe would be too good to be true because there's just so many ways that it can go horribly wrong for a character like Tomo. But honestly, I hope I'm not the only one who felt like it was a surprise that out of these 3, Mizuzu was the one who came out to be the most competent of them all. I thought Tomo was going to threaten to punch someone, I thought Carol was just going to be a blundering mess, and Mizuzu I thought was going to be ice cold and probably get escorted to the kitchen or something. But what ended up happening was, well, Carol was a blundering idiot. She kind of just is like, I like cake, what do you want, what are you eating, and then got thrown outside to be a menu and honestly ended up bringing in more customers than they probably ever saw at once. You had Tomo surprisingly being decent. She was flustered, she was a little nervous, but she wasn't horrible, and nor did the rage come out towards anyone that it shouldn't. And when it came to Mizuzu being the most surprising of them all, like, she just immediately put on the act and was like the best waitress of them all. Honestly, I like how rather than just using something that could have been a blundering mess of comedy, instead they made it work out and they got a nice little bit of pocket change and a side job whenever they want it. I mean, for students, the fact that you don't have a dedicated work schedule, if you ever feel like you need some extra cash and we need some extra help, come on by and work a weekend. It's not a bad gig, all things considered, and the fact that, you know, it was literally established. June comes to this restaurant once a week. After coming and seeing she's working there, he came every single day she did, and also clearly walked her home every single night. If that doesn't show you the Cupid's arrows are really starting to fire off a full cylinder, what else will? So with 2 episodes left to go, the Cinderella play in full swing, I feel like the direction they're trying to go here is most likely next episode will be very heavy into the play, and maybe episode 13 will see like the grand punchline with them acting in the play, potentially a confession, maybe them getting in a relationship. If not, if we don't end them in a relationship, I expect some OVAs where we will get that. Obviously, there's a lot of like these mini short chapters that they can adapt. That's why we've gone through hundreds of them, because they're such short pages, all things considered. So we're not going to see everything, but my original hunch was it'd be like Horimiya. They would hit the main points. Yes, they wouldn't show everything, they wouldn't show every joke, but they'd hit the main ones needed for a complete adaptation for an anime watcher to see them in a relationship sort of a thing. But I mean, like I said, this show started off strong in terms of being a fun show to follow. I really think the first 3 to 4 episodes, a good show, you can recommend it. Probably not going to think about it a year from now, but it's a fun watch to follow. I really think this show has turned into something that I am going to be thinking about for some time, and I mean, the shows, when you really make those lists, like what are the best rom-com anime to recommend, the shows that stick out are the ones you may not think about all the time, but if you can immediately pull a name from your hat, I think of Toradora, I think of My Teen Romantic Comedy, I think of this show, Tomo-chan is a Girl. These shows that can just immediately be pulled from a hat and a name can be drawn, those are the ones that really did something special, and for such a short runtime, man, like, it doesn't feel like we've known them for 11 episodes, like, it feels like I probably could have watched 100 episodes of this, but honestly, I do respect a show that's more short and sweet and to the point, and that's clearly what this show's been up to this point. I do like that Mizuzu has a little bit of drama without being overly in your face, trying to ruin everything. I mean, Tomo's words of like, if you hate me, obviously I can't change it, but if you are overthinking things, pretty much don't be a dummy. I love how they get around so many things that could be dragged out for episodes on end in any other rom-com for overdramatic effect that you just wish we could get over. And this show resolves things so quickly, but at a steady enough pace that it feels like it's important to them, but not something that's ever going to ruin friendships for good sort of a thing. And I love the fact that we're progressing at a steady pace, showing enough, keeping it funny, having a little drama, but never breaking anyone to the point that you feel like these relationships are gone for good. This was an absolutely fantastic episode. I'm not sure for sure if I would call it the best Tomo-chan, but it's definitely up there, probably tied with another episode. I'd really have to sit down and think. I mean, I said it before, like when you had the whole confession episode with Carol, that's like some peak stuff. Like they are these like amazing drama moments, but like from pure entertainment value, like this is the episode that I think really hits all the sweet spots. But that's just me. Thoughts and feelings yourself down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Be sure to ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload on the channel. And of course, as I mentioned, we do have that full live reaction available on my Patreon. And while you're there, you can also get a video shoutout. So today we have Jeff, Durberg Jude, Dark Coyote, Aglet, and Jaxo23. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.